Hey rockers, going to talk about an abstract concept today called rhythm guitar. Apparently we're supposed to be doing it for the other 3.5 minutes of the song, so I figure we should probably look at some. Imagine you're playing in a 2-guitar band, or a band that's got a keyboard player, or somebody else that's covering chords, and it can be a bit busy if everybody's doing the same thing. Imagine we've got a chord progression that's E, D, A, I know you can barely see it in shot, but alright, now that might sound too big, too busy, covering too much of other people's space, especially if you have a bass player that likes to play his root notes in multiple octaves. So we can look at inversions to create funky little parts with some triad stacks. So let's have a look at our E chord up nice and high, for instance, on the 14th, 13th and 12th frets of the D, G and B string. We find a little E triad, alright? So we create something that's part of our big chord there, but it has a distinct part. Now I'm using the pick and the second and third fingers to pick that, but you can strum it if you want it to be funky, whatever you like to do, okay? Obviously that's going to get a bit boring on its own. So we look for some inversions of those same 3 notes on the same 3 strings. So if we move down the neck and we look for other E's, G sharps and B's, we find some on the 9th fret down here of the same strings. Okay, in that case it's B, E and G sharp. Down on the 6th, 4th and 5th frets of the same strings we get G sharp, B and E. And then we get an octave below our original shape. So there's one group of triads we can play for just the E chord. Now if we go and do the same thing for the D and the A chord, the D is going to be pretty easy to figure out because it's all just 2 frets down from what we played before. We can fit another one of these up here. Alright, so already we've got 4 different options for that we can reach for those 2 chords. If we do the same thing for the A chord and we start up high, we've got 14, 14, 14. So it's an octave higher than our open A chord. Follow the same sequence of shapes down always. So if you start with that one, the next one is always going to be that one. The next one is always going to be that one. And the next one is always going to be that one. Alright, so we've already got some options there for those 3 chords. What we want to try and do is use the same area of the neck to cover all 3 chords. And that way our, the note journey, if you want to call it, from each chord to the next chord is not some big, which can sound a bit, bit disjointed. If you play it, let's say we play an E here, for instance, play a D down here, the melodic jump isn't too big, and then look for the A chord here, and then play the E chord here. So I've already got a part that could go. Stuffed up at the end there, but you know what I mean. So that's just one cool idea. The other one, in a chord progression like this, we've probably got time to go through a couple of inversions of each chord before moving to the next chord. So if we look at that same rhythm, just for reference, so instead of, I could go on the E and D, and then for the D and A I could go E, I could go D, D, A. So there's possibilities there, and that's just on 3 strings. You could incorporate even just other groups as 3, like on the high E and the B and the G strings, and do that kind of thing as well. So there's lots of fun to be had here. Try it with fingers, try it with pick, muck around with it. Look at chord progressions, not so much in just following big fat open chords. They do have their place, especially if you're an acoustic player and you're accompanying a singer or something like that. But what we want to do is find our own unique little real estate in the sonic scheme of things, so that we're not treading on the keyboard player's toes or the bass player's toes. So have fun with it, and remember that we should be playing rhythm guitar some of the time, but not all the time. Bye for now.